Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we make connections through the lens of video games and all things pop culture. We're your hosts Jared, Mauro, and Chaz.
Hello, I'm Chaz.
Hey, I'm Mauro.
And this Delta Series episode is going to be a bit different. For this month, we'll be joined by Kendall Quiñones, game director for Shade Protocol, and he'll be revealing and sharing details about the special collaboration between Shade Protocol, Crosscode, and Alabaster Dawn by Radical Fish Games. And don't forget our Delta Quest D&D campaign towards the end. This episode's somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Links to them are down below. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! Hello, Kendall. This is going to be a different type of episode. So I understand that here we're going to talk about the collab, the mysterious collab that Shade Protocol is having with another game. I know nothing, or at least very little, so I am completely unprepared, and I am ready to be shocked and blown away. So, Kendall, take the floor. What are we doing? What should we expect?
That's a great intro there. So I'm very, very proud of this. I don't want to, bury the lead too much, but pretty much I just want to say, it's a huge honor for us to get to do this. So before, I spent a lot of time, glazing the games and all that stuff, and I'm just gonna come out and say it. So if you are hearing this, probably by the time that this podcast has come out, we have made the reveal already, and you got to see the video. If not, take a moment to watch it. The collab reveal, we are incredibly proud to be partnering with Radical Fish Games. They are the creators of Crosscode and Alabaster Dawn, which are two, Crosscode specifically is a, generational cult classic, something just spectacular, that, it's an indie gem that I think has survived the test of time and has pretty much shown everybody how it's done in terms of making an RPG that's incredibly interesting and beloved by the community. And then, of course, Alabaster Dawn is no joke. These guys are, making something incredibly spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
They just launched their early access build the May 7th. 2026, by this time, a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, and they released that to be 6th in the world on Steam worldwide.
Incredible.
That's insane. Just for an indie studio to be able to do that, it's just the kind of stuff that at least it gets me incredibly riled up. I could just feel the fact that, when I saw that list and see that, the handful of games that were on top of those were mostly free to play, high scale games, fully AAA stuff, and then you have this beautiful gem right there, and then everything else is games that we all know, just pretty much taking a backseat to an incredible indie. So it's just stuff that for me, it's just such a big thing. So yeah, that's gonna be the collab. It's with both games. So I think
both
we
games.
we misled everybody by saying in our media saying, oh, Shade Protocol plus question mark. But the first thing is that when we did that, and I can say this as a clear thing, so people learn a little bit of how I like to do some of these things. And the first post I made about it to social media, it says, Shade Protocol plus something, and it's a bunch of question marks. Those question marks are exactly, I think there were the exact amount of letters of the word Crosscode. So people could have figured it out.
Cheeky.
There, I think I did it right. I don't remember. But no, then, we've been working with, once again, I'm living in the future because today is the 21st when we're recording.
Yeah.
But we have been, during these days, we're going to be posting a lot of stuff through our Steam post and all this stuff, and Kickstarter and everything. And they're also being incredibly awesome and posting stuff directly to their people. And as all this is happening, in all of those posts, there's a little secret, a little bit of the pretty much everything that you needed to know in order to figure it out. But once again, we're the smaller game, even though thankfully we're a very popular game now. But probably not enough for a community this huge to call us by name. So some people have figured it out in their community, which I have been there personally, and I have seen them, and I have taken note of their names. So if you are one of those people, I'm going to eventually reach out to you, and we will give you something like some cool reward for having figured it out in advance. We'll make an announcement later, but yeah, it's been a handful of people only that have figured it out. But when we made our first post saying, "Hey, we're going to do a collab," I don't even know. Like the Alabaster Dawn was by far the most requested. Um,
Really?
yeah, it was huge. Like I don't know how many people replied to that, but I got so many replies in all the different areas where we are in Discord and social media and everywhere. And I would say overwhelmingly so. It was Alabaster Dawn and Crosscode by each one of them being top one and top two. Alabaster Dawn being more known right now in terms of the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two were top two by a very long mile compared to everyone else. So it sounds like we made the right choice. So yeah, that's the reveal. As uneventful as I can make it. But,
So okay,
there's not a lot more going on. Yeah.
then let me ask, what this is going to be a multi-parter question. One, it's going to be, what is the collab? Like, what do you mean you're going to collaborate with these games? What does that look like? And two, like, the only connection I can, or not the only, but like one of the few connections I can make between Shape Protocol and these games is there's the cyber techie sci-fi look for both of them, right? And Alabaster Dawn, that's the name of the game, and also Zura, we know her as the Dawn Bringer. I'm assuming that plays into it.
Of course, this is gonna be all non-canon storylines, right? So it's gonna be
Ah,
stuff that we'll do that will be it'll be like an exciting uh fun journey that we will have together. But of course, it's more like like an on the side kind of collab. We couldn't, of course, force a merger between all these worlds in a way that would be something that it wouldn't affect like the progress of those stories, and it would get a little bit too confusing.
right.
But it is kind of like, imagine that if we ever did like you know Shape Protocol and Mega Man, I don't know, something like that, then obviously, those two worlds are not the same. But for this one moment in time, there's a story that's tied together. So we call that, pretty much a non-canon, uh, offshoot thing. But still, it's going to be pretty, at least on the Shade Protocol side, because I'll explain what the collab is in a minute. Because we are younger in terms of as a game, we're much younger. We
Yeah.
have like less than a year. We are more able to do more drastic things that we want to do, and then so you'll feel more of the impact of the story on our side of the story, on our side of like when people play Shape Protocol. But there are some things we're going to do in Alabaster Dawn specifically that will be really impressive and hopefully really beautiful. So it'll be like homage to both games all over the place. So just to also help people in terms of crosscode, we're going to do stuff in Shape Protocol to celebrate crosscode, and there will be some things in the Kickstarter that we're going to do that we're going to try to fund there to make even more of that stuff that I think really people really want to see. But in terms of like going back to crosscode and like going and adding content to crosscode, we're actually not going to do that
Oh,
for good reason, right? It's really it's an older version of their engine. It's like a really heavy lift to do stuff there. And if we wanted to do like stuff like achievements and stuff like that, like people that have done 100% would be affected. So we don't
yeah.
want to do any of that. But what we'll do is we'll do it all in Shade Protocol, specifically for crosscode. However, with Alabaster Dawn, we're doing content in both games, so it's immense in terms of the success in our minds for what that looks like for us as a tiny studio to get a studio as successful as Radical Fish to give us an opportunity to put some content in their game. So yeah, it's a huge success. So I guess I could tell you a little bit more what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is divide it into a couple of things, but I could divide it into two huge groups, I would say. One is what we're gonna do, period, and one is what we're gonna do through Kickstarter. Because we decided together we're gonna do some things that we really wanted to do. That it doesn't matter what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fund it ourselves. We're gonna I'll be very happy to do this. By the way, and uh, the only reason I do have to say this is because people can misunderstand this kind of stuff. We're not like this is not like a paid collab where we're like going to them and like licensing their content or anything like that. This is a true partnership between two indies, which is to me like something that's really really rare, and at the same time truly spectacular. Like to be able to do something like this, that is like pretty much we're just seeing value in each other, and the studios are getting closer together because of that, which is kind of like the whole thing of like together we are mighty, right? This is the biggest success we could ever ask for in order to be able to collab with the studio as true partners. We're building stuff together. So that aside, there, like I said, two buckets. One of we're gonna do this for sure, and then another stuff is we're gonna do this through Kickstarter. The stuff that we're gonna do through Kickstarter is because it's way too spectacular, and we don't want to like promise that we're gonna do something that requires maybe a different type of artist or more music or this and that, and we have to fund that. But mostly we would just be shifting development funds from our Kickstarter into this partnership, and of course we're going to do the work, so you're still kind of helping us make more game.
Right.
So in no way are we ever either getting in the way of the development path of Alabaster Dawn or losing things in Shape Protocol in order to do this. This is all extra content that we're going to fund through Kickstarter, but we're still going to do a lot of stuff that we've already decided no matter what. So that's like the setting. Now, so what are we going to do for sure, which I'm incredibly proud of. So we'll start with Shape Protocol because it's what I own and is exciting. But I think the news on their side, people are going to like that a little better. But in our side, we are doing so we have harmonies in our game. Harmonies are like a big ultimate attacks. So what we're going to do, which you probably saw in the trailer by now, by the moment that this comes out, in this teaser trailer, you'll see two unique, never seen before, handmade harmonies. One for Leah from Crosscode, and one for Juno from Alabaster Dawn. These are special, secret harmonies that you can find in the game through special secret content. We're not going to completely reveal how, because that is in itself very exciting. But the point is, you'll be able to find this special harmonies, and then we are making a system in the game that lets you equip them pretty much. So you'll be able to kind of equip these harmonies, and they're like pretty much abilities that you'll have that let you do this big attacks. When you do the attacks, you'll see, as you see in the teaser, that pretty much like if you're doing the crosscode one, then you'll see like Leah shows up. She will do like, a big effect, and it's pretty hyper spectacular and like cinematic, and it is the pretty much our version of how do we celebrate the artistry of Crosscode, and it is very themed to that. If you're seeing the video, you'll see like it looks like one of the original combat arts where she does like this big spin with the chakram and whatnot. But we're also, Zura is, our main character is involved. So Zura's doing something to like group all the enemies with the chakram, and then Leah's like throwing them into the air with her chakram, and then we throw Leah our chakram, and then
so these are
she crashes
team
down,
up harmonies.
Team up harmonies,
wow.
Yeah, one of a kind. Yeah, one of a kind, fully handmade, pixel by pixel, high frame rate pixel art harmonies, and they're just spectacular, just very beautiful. So that's how it's going to look. Like that's one. We're going to do one for each. We might do more than one, but for now we're going to like ensure that we're going to have one for Alabaster Dawn and one for Crosscode. Then the Alabaster Dawn one is the one that shows at the end of this trailer, which is pretty much like, once again, like we see Juno and Cabbage, they show up and we do this really big attack with them. And it's kind of just cinematically spectacular. But that's not all we're going to do. That's just like we'll call it like the baseline thing that is gameplay that you can, at any point where you are able to use a harmony, you can use that one, and it just will give you like the sense of like you're seeing those worlds come together. So it's not only aesthetic change, it's a real ability that you will get in the game, and then it'll have its effect. It's not going to be we're not going to design it to be better or worse than the rest of the game. We're just going to decide it to be special. So we'll give it its own properties and its own effect. And if that's what you want to use, then you will use it and you'll feel great about it. So we like that a lot.
That's really cool.
Also, yeah, it's a pretty good way to kind of bring the games together and to like celebrate both of them, because harmonies are probably the biggest cinematic moment you have in the game, other than like actual cinematics. so it's pretty great, and then you're able to use it more often, and get the sense of like that you're enjoying a game that you love, and it's just kind of all of it together. So it still feels pretty good. But yeah, that's not all we're doing. So we are also going to, which this is going to go into the Kickstarter section, but it's something that we are probably going to still be able to do on our own, which is we're probably going to put, depending on the ending of our Kickstarter, we're going to put like either 1 or 2 fully secret bosses. These bosses probably will be kind of difficult to find, but people will, because people are great. They'll figure it out. But there'll be secret bosses themed to each game.
Wow.
And they'll be designed in collaboration with Radical Fish Games. So we will be the ones drawing them, of course, because like I said, we do not want to in any way affect the progress of Alabaster Dawn. But they'll be like hand by hand, maybe like telling us what they think this is cool, or they think this could be better. We're gonna do it together, but it won't be like high effort for any side, because we have to make more bosses anyway. So pretty much what we're saying is we're gonna take some of our, like, let's say at least 2 of our optional bosses, and we're gonna make them Crosscode and Alabaster Dawn themed, and they're just gonna be spectacular fights that will give you hopefully a lot of nostalgia. We're not gonna say much more about that for now. We're not going to say what the fights are, who they are, what they are. It'll just be something that we think is going to hit. It's going to hit you in the heart. You're going to feel like that you're having a moment between the games that will feel spectacular. And of course, the bosses will be in Shade Protocol vibes, which means that we're talking about very, very advanced kind of hyper mobile combat, right? This kind of cinematic combat where you're all over the place doing cool stuff. So it's going to feel very different than what it would have felt in a game like Crosscode or Alabaster Dawn. But we will capture the essence. That's our goal, to capture the essence of what we're trying to show. So yeah, that's the side. That's the initial side. That's not all we're going to do, but that's the initial side of like what we'll say. I could pretty much confirm that's going to happen in some way, shape, or form in the Shade Protocol side. So before I go into like what's going to happen in the Alabaster Dawn side, do you have any questions there that I
yes
clear that up? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So one of my questions was going to be like, okay, so this is what's going on in Shade Protocol. New specific team up harmonies with both of these main characters and secret bosses based on these games as well. Very cool. Since both protagonists from Radical Fish Games have weapons similar or just like what Zura uses, like the chakram and a sword, can we maybe expect some special themed weapons for Zura herself? Like maybe we just change how the chakram and her sword looks to match the Crosscode and Alabaster Dawn stuff, or no?
So this is a really, really interesting conversation that we had. So
okay,
Felix, because is the game director over Radical Fish Game, and I had really good conversations about this. And this is like something that this podcast normally like reveal a lot of like our development thoughts and stuff like that. So I think it's helpful to say. So we talked about that, and we like the idea. The main challenge is that if you think about it, the weapons specifically from Crosscode, like the chakram from Crosscode is like this blue energy, right? Very, very beautiful. It's just the thing is, this is something that they brought up, which I love. It's like it's not like a hyper identifiable thing, something that you would see and just instantly know, oh, that's Crosscode, right? So due to that, the challenge is that if we were to do, like, let's say we were to like reskin the weapon, it would be very difficult for us to make it so that it feels like Crosscode, because even in Crosscode, it doesn't necessarily feel like Crosscode. Is a blue circle.
Tron.
So
it's like Tron.
And I think Yeah, it is part of the beauty of it, the simplicity and cleanliness of it, right?
Yeah.
The Alabaster Dawn chakram is a lot more identifiable.
I
It
didn't even know
has
there
like
was a chakram in that game. Wow.
yeah, it's quite interesting. It's very beautiful. The challenge with it, of course, is that Alabaster Dawn is a fairly new game,
Yeah.
and it's all these things are kind of what we are all thinking about when we're saying the value of the effort, because we definitely want to make sure that every dollar we're spending on doing this goes to the most enjoyment. Like you're gonna get the most value out of it, because we're tiny indies like on this side at least we are tiny.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that it's something that we can add a lot of value with. So we are definitely thinking about it as in like how could we do something like that. It is definitely very very expensive in terms
Yeah.
of production to
Right.
replace a weapon, um, but it's not out of the question. The main thing with it is that as we think about replacing the weapon, we don't quite know if it's going to carry the essence of
The
crosscode,
instruments?
right?
Oh, okay.
It might not feel like that because the chakram is not used in the same way. Like it's a more
Right.
simple, in our world is more simpler. Like you use it and you kind of interact with it very quickly. So what I didn't want to do is end up like reskinning the chakram, which could end up being super simple in the end, and say that's it, that's what you get, right?
Mm.
So we're thinking about it. It's not the best solution for excitement, and to give you something that you'll feel like you use all the time. Uh, but it's completely possible. There's other weapons from Alabaster Dawn that I think as the game becomes more popular, I mean it's already huge, right? But as the game becomes more popular and more people keep playing it and playing it and playing it, the community is kind of deciding what the weapons that are more identifiable and memorable. That's the community's deciding. So we're listening very actively. If there's something there that we feel this is like a really really good fit for us to like port over, it's a non-zero chance that we would do that. A non-zero chance.
Then what about
At this point, yeah, it's probably a little better to do the harmonies and do the bosses and stuff like that, because
right.
it's stuff that will have like deep impact and it will represent what's going on. Versus, let's say, I gave you the hammer from like Alabaster Dawn.
Sure.
It's a very pretty hammer, but it's probably not something that you'll clearly be able to connect. Like, oh, this is like the thing from Alabaster. It's not like maybe like a lightsaber that you will be like, oh, that's like Star Wars. So what
Sure.
we're trying to do is want to make 100% sure that everything we put in there, it's to the best benefit of Alabaster Dawn and Crossco, so that it's very identifiable. But I think like probably I'm being honest. By the time like this all comes out, probably it will be that identifiable, and we'll probably do something. Like it's just a matter of like prioritizing now what we know for sure will hit the spot. But yeah, it's a very very good idea. We might do it.
Then what about giving Zora skins or outfits to match the protagonist of both games? I mean, for Crosscode, that protagonist, like her outfit already kind of has some similarities to Zora herself. I mean, especially with the headpiece, So like, I don't know if you want to do the exact outfits or just different colors, just to match the theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I can use that as a leapfrog to something we are gonna do.
Okay.
So in terms of shape protocol specifically, um, this is like a cool thing to know. So shape protocol is hand drawn every frame for every single component that you see in the game. Like every attack, you're seeing a frame that was drawn by a
Durrani.
person, or
Yeah.
like
Thank you,
on
Durrani.
back to back. Yeah. Whereas in Alabaster Dawn, their artistry is at another level completely. They made a beautiful sprite sheet that is all hand drawn into like every single angle of certain things could happen, and then they have like their own engine where they can rig the body of Juno to do the attacks, but they're actually moving all the parts, kind of like a puppet, right?
Wow.
The thing is that they're so good at it that you can't tell, but that's what's happening, right? So this is not like it is kind of like a frame by frame thing, but in reality, like let's say the arm is moving, then the arm actually is moving. So they're not necessarily drawing the frame of the arm; they're drawing all the frames of the forearm, and then as the arm moves, then they're choosing which frame they're showing, right? So what happens is it's incredibly smart, and it's much more scalable than Shape Protocol because what we're doing is a little bit more in line with like Mega Man, right? It's a sprite sheet based work where they are doing more rigged bodies like bones and stuff. So it is very, very, very expensive and difficult for Shape Protocol to bring in new pieces of clothing or like to change like armor and stuff like that. Not out of the question, but very, very difficult.
Yeah.
However, this is like the beginning of the other side. So something that we Lulu just agreed, and we are committed to doing now, is that in Alabaster Dawn there is a roguelike setting called Somu Stream. It's kind of like the code name for now. And that roguelike mode will include we will have Zura as a playable character in the yeah, they're super amazing. I mean, it's just so cool. Their roguelike version of their pretty much their game. We're gonna have Zura over there, kind of like it's kind of like a skin of Juno. That is functionally how it's gonna be kind of built. So we're pretty much like working on top of that and then making like a full Zura, which is, I mean, more than I could ever dream of, right? It's just spectacular. We don't quite know just yet the implications of what that could mean, and I don't want to make any promises right now off the top, but my dream is that in the future there will be I'll tease it like that, but I don't know if it'll happen. I just want to make sure that some consequence of actually choosing Zura for whenever you're playing the roguelike. So I hope that we can get to that. But once again, these are at this moment, we literally today decided that we were going to do this, and we've been talking about it for a little while, trying to figure out the specifics of it. Zura might look very similar to what she looks right now. There might be like a little bit of an interpretation in order to make it like really work with her, body type over there and like the structure of the hair and things like that. Well, these guys are so good. So I know they're going to get really close. In terms of like the implications for now, as of today, it's like more of a for fun thing that you could just pick, which skin you want to use to play the game. But I hope that we could continue to evolve this, and probably the Kickstarter will help a lot to build the credibility so that they could, maybe do something that has higher implications. And we have made, I think, really good. We've suggested ideas that we feel are very viable, where playing Zura would have some real consequence and value, we'll say, right? There could happen. Once again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's like my dream of what I would wish would happen. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's already like just a dream come true, right? To have our character, fully rigged, beautifully made in a game that looks 3D and looks all as good as Alabaster Dawn. So yes, it's just a dream come true. So it's a big win for Shape Protocol. And then they will also do. We haven't decided how many, but at least one, I'll say, a divine art, which is the equivalent or harmonies pretty much in their game, which will be highly themed to Shape Protocol. So already there'll be something you can equip that you can use the entire game, which I think that's very it's such a point of pride for our team. But then the fact that you can actually play Zura in the roguelike, it's just I don't know. I don't have the words to explain how amazing that is for our team. There are some other ideas for more surprises, but I'm strictly talking of the stuff that's going to happen regardless of what the Kickstarter
That is
does,
confirmed.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is stuff that we are going to do. Of course, I just want to be very transparent. We're saying we're going to do this, and we are going to do this, right? We gave each other our word, and we're going to keep it. But it's probably going to take a while, right? Because we want to make sure that this does not get in the way of the development of either game, right? This has to be something that we do as part of our as part of our development cycles. And I'll explain a little later how that works, but pretty much it's just respecting the pockets of effort that happen. Maybe at some point it's very, very common that in studios like ours, one area is going to get, it's going to need more attention. Let's say at some point you have to develop a really big feature. And whenever you're developing that feature, maybe your programmers are hyper busy, but your artists cannot get further ahead because at that point, if they get further ahead, they'll be building stuff that might change, right? So it's very costly and erroneous design to do that. So at that point, things like this are very, very helpful. They're actually great for both teams to have, content that we can have on the side that whenever there's an opportunity to do, we'll do it. So we'll find the right time. These pockets happen more often than you think, by the way. They happen very often. So yeah, in short, this will get done. It'll just probably be something we'll do as we go together. And as soon as it's realistic to get it done, it'll come out, and I think you guys will really like. I think you'll really like it when you say it. I think you'll be really impressed. But for now, those are the things that we're doing without the Kickstarter going any even if nothing happens in the Kickstarter other than just funding the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a couple of more questions. Speaking of the Kickstarter, I'm assuming there will be potential stretch goals to add more to this collaboration. And speaking on the collaboration, of course, the early access for Alabaster Dawn is already out. Crosscode's already out, but Shade Protocol is still a while away from releasing. Even having a demo out, we're still, it's still down the road, but we're not there just yet. How will all of this affect the timing of the releases of this collab? I know we're talking about the announcement of it, but how will releasing these parts work? Will it all be at the same time when Shade Protocol is ready? Will Alabaster Dawn and Crosscode see these collabs merge into these games sooner than Shade? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so we have to bolt some of that down, mostly because we want to, like I said, it's really important to us that we do not compromise, the development path of either game.
Yeah.
So probably what's going to happen is that we're going to add these things to our individual roadmaps, and we will continue to talk very often. And as these things are able to be scheduled to be developed, then we are going to design together what things need to be designed together. Some stuff is intentionally that one team will do it alone to surprise the other, right? I think that's part of the beauty of it.
Oh, okay.
But most of it will have some we're going to, especially on our side, everything we're going to do is going to be run by them because we want to respect that IP. But I'm sure maybe they'll do the divine art and we'll be incredibly surprised because they could come up with crazy stuff on their system that we can't possibly imagine. But the whole point here is that I don't think this needs to be orchestrated to the point where we have to wait until Shape Protocol comes out, or we have to wait until. I don't think it'll work like that. I think it'll just come out as it's feasible for it to come out.
Okay.
And my dream, of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. But my dream is that, of course, during the early access of Alabaster Dawn, we see the Surya skin and the hopefully, right, some sort of effect with that. And my reasoning with that is that I think it is one of the ways that it can give in early access more replayability, right? Which I think once again that's a big value,
right?
So let's say they already released as of today, the 21st, they released their roadmap, and that roadmap, of course, will have spaces of pockets of production focus on development or programming or music or this or that. So whenever there's a space to fit this in, and that can get done, then what that could do is help bring players back to just enjoy that roguelike game mode. With some twist or whatever we end up doing. If not, it's just a skin, but it's still pretty entertaining for people to come and enjoy that. And remember that every time they add an area, that will also grow the roguelike, because the roguelike is kind of pathed that way. And the roguelike, they have it set up so that, I think there's 3 areas right now in the early access that I played. So the roguelike that I played has three levels, and then you're done. But eventually, if you have a 4th area, then there'll be a 4th level on the roguelike, and it keeps expanding like that. So there will always be a reason to come back. But if we do something like this, it could be like a reason to do it in an off side, in an off time, right? In a time maybe that is like between content pieces. And I love that for them too, because you want people to be able to come back to your game and actually, of course, test it and keep giving feedback and all this stuff for a moderate effort of creating Zura, which is not nothing, by the way. It's not like they have it easy. It's difficult to do this, so we're incredibly appreciative. But it's definitely probably a smaller sprint in terms of total work than creating a whole new area. So I think that will be a good reason to bring people back and whatnot. So I'm incredibly excited for it. I think there's a lot of good work that's going to come out of it. But yeah, the core benefit for now it's mostly to not have to have it synced to the release of the games.
Understood.
But it's not fully decided yet when. But it will. I don't think it'll be. If we can do some of the stuff that we want to do, and we could do it on demo states before Shape Protocol release, then we would be happy to do that. But I think that's something that I probably will have the conversation with Felix and the Radical Fish team to make sure that they feel it is the best representation of that content. Plus that there are other goals in the Kickstarter, right? So I could go into that very quickly. This is more on our side only, right?
Yeah.
The Kickstarter is to fund, of course, Shape Protocol, but there are kind of merged goals. That's kind of how I'm calling them in my head, where we will get to a certain amount of money, and let's say we've raised so much funds, and these funds let us port the game, for example. And in that porting site, we'll say, porting, is unlocked, plus 2 more bosses for Alabaster, Dawn, and Crosscode. So everything that we put will be extra, so it will not be like taking away from the goals of that tier. So if people are really excited to get, let's say, I don't know, like an extra instrument for Shape Protocol, then maybe it'll be like an extra instrument, and here's like I don't know, like Philia Harmony, which is one of the characters that people love from Alabaster Dawn, and for some reason that community loves to drown this poor little girl. They just have her like jump into the water and not stop. It's so crazy. It doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of entertaining. So it could be like that, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to mesh these goals so that they are, whenever people are looking at the things that we're doing for the collab between. Remember, we'll also have Crosscode to care for.
Yeah.
But all these things will be things that should feel like extra, because we are using our own development funds to do this, but we're not really losing anything. Because let's say we were going to have this is not the real number, but let's say we were going to have 30 bosses, and out of those 30 bosses, 12 were going to be bosses that we were just going to do as optional bosses, like they're not core story. Then we don't lose anything by taking like 2 or 3 or 4 of them and making them themed like this at all, right? It doesn't affect us in any way. So we want to be able to do that. So if the goal is to, for example, porting, then we could just say, but on top of that, we're gonna, because we see people supporting our game from that community, then we're gonna also make these bosses. Right? So we're gonna replace some of our optional bosses with those bosses, which will still be great. And if you don't know anything about Crosscode or Alabaster Dawn, which means you live under a rock, then you'll still enjoy those bosses. You won't even know. You'll just have a great time with bosses that are just spectacular. But I guess I could tell you for some of those goals, there's a couple of things we want to do. So one of them is we want to do on the earlier tiers, we are bringing in the trailer that you guys saw today, or whenever you hear this podcast. But the 25th, we released this trailer, and this trailer includes a track that sounds very, very, very different from Shape Protocol in its core concept, and that's intentional because that track was made by Shirakumo Nagi, which is the original composer of Crosscode and Alabaster Dawn. It is, fully orchestral, beautiful, just lovely. Like it's just well done. It's orchestral composition. It's gorgeous. But it definitely sounds very different from Shape Protocol. And the idea is because we're a musical game.
Yep.
We'll have different areas of the world where and I'm not like spoiling that, but it is probably something that people can assume that in different areas of the world, maybe the music will be very different.
Yep.
Right. Maybe somewhere it sounds more like what you're expecting from our game's looks. Maybe cybernetic and this, but maybe somewhere else is like jazz Who knows, right? So whatever. They'll, our goal is that as we work with, we put a guest appearance from Shiraku Monagi. So he will make a I'm not saying specifically what, but he'll make quote unquote track with an S in parentheses, right? We'll figure out what is cool for him to do. Um, and he's already done something for us already that we love, so we will bring him as a guest composer. Then another goal, moving like a little further down the line. Well, I guess way further down the line would be like very, very far into the Kickstarter. If we can fund that, then one of our dreams is to make an actual DLC,
Wow.
which would be, incredible, right? It will be like an actual storyline that we're doing with the characters from the different games, and that will be like once again, it's not canon, but it will be hyper merged.
It'll be
It will
fun.
be like an actual full story with bosses and dialogue, and and you'll get to see Leah, you'll get to see Juno, you'll get to see all the other like I'll say the other characters, whoever we decide, right? We have some ideas of some of them that we love, and I think people will really enjoy. So you'll get to see like a story that is self-contained but really great, and then there'll of course be like consequences of that will affect Zura forever.
Right.
Because if you play a DLC, of course you gain something, and you'll gain those things forever. Those things we'll probably keep to ourselves for now, but it might be like a new system that we implement based on the DLC, or it might be like just other power-ups that we like, or maybe something else that will, I think it's fairly obvious the kind of stuff we want to do there, but it'll be special, and it will be depending on the DLC. That is a very high goal, I'm not gonna lie. So for us to fund that, it'll take a lot of effort, but if we don't fund that, that doesn't mean we won't do it. We'll probably just need more, a lot more time for us to get to a place where we can do that kind of stuff. But we're going to try to fund it now. But yeah, we mostly have it as a high goal set up to the side, and if we're able to get there, then that's great. But that's not necessarily our direct hope. But yeah, I mean, if we get to do a DLC, it will be a lot. It will be like an entire area with bosses and new enemies and music, and everything will be new, and it will just be like a tribute, an entire area that's a tribute to these games, and a full partnership. So very, very looking forward to see if we can get there.
Understood. And I'm glad you brought up the music bit, because that's exactly what I was going to ask you something about that. Yeah, as you said, Shape Protocol is heavily based on music. I was going to ask like about themes between the games. How are they shared? How does that contribute to this collab? You've already answered it. The next thing that I want to know as we like head for a landing here, like, it's a simple question, but why Crosscode and Alabaster Dawn to collab with? Like, why choose these games for your Shape Protocol? How do they relate? What are the reoccurring themes maybe? What do they share? Like, why this for you, Kendall, and what does that mean?
Well, I mean, first of all, the artistry of this team, the Radical Fish team, it's just way beyond norm. I think in terms of when I think about a team that exemplifies, pretty much what it is to make like incredibly high quality indie games, it's hard to find someone else that is going to do something as artistically beautiful and as care, as a reflection of care as these guys. They're just like overpowered in that way. But the truth is, to be truly sincere, is when at the very beginning of the journey of Shape Protocol, we made a bunch of different DAUs, like these questions that we do to our community, and one of them was pretty early. We asked like, collabs, and what could we do to what will be a good game for us to like partner with, and if we decide to like do a collab, right? And the answer was overwhelmingly Crosscode. When I say overwhelmingly, I think it was like 8 out of 10. Like,
Interesting.
It's a lot of people. There's a lot of themes between our games. Like Crosscode is set in an MMO. We are set in a futuristic kind of, circumstance, not the same, right? But just the characters have some themes of this futuristic vibe. They, of course, in terms of like the Leah has like the kind of her little like diadem kind of headdress thing, and we have like a diadem too. So there's a bunch of little things that the characters kind of look alike in some way, and we have very active combat where many Metroidvanias don't. And then you have something like CrossCode that has very, very incredibly active combat compared to the average RPG. So I think like we're both kind of doing things in our genre that are getting us closer to, we'll say, a much more active version of that genre. So I think we both kind of been shooting towards the same direction in different genres, and that just helps a lot to start putting that together. Of course, I imagine if people were like, you know, um, pretty much like nonstop asking us to collab with them, I imagine that happened to them too. So eventually I sent a message, because the community wouldn't stop. So I reach out to them and say, hey, like I'd like to see if you guys are willing to collab. I don't remember how long it took. I guess I could figure it out, but they uh, they took very, very long to reply to me, mostly because they are a very special team. They are the kind of team that they're deeply focused on making their game. They don't care. I mean, I'm speaking for them. I shouldn't, but I could say as a statement of like the affection that I have for that team. They are not here to market their game. They're not here to like, do a bunch of promo or not. They are a very, very like their vibe is we will make the best game we could make. This is our entire purpose of existing. And I adore that. I think like that's something that I wish I could do, right? I wish I had the ability and the resources to just fully like do nothing else but focus on the game. They are living that dream. Of course, they also do all the other stuff together, but they are deeply focused. Like I would say most of their energy goes into that. They're not worried about like, if they're, in an event or not. They do that here and there, but their main focus is making the best game they can make. And by consequence, it took a while for us to connect. But I think I only wrote them once, and I'm sorry, twice. I wrote them once, and then a little bit later, I wrote them again. And eventually, like directly, like Felix kind of wrote me, "Hey, like I haven't seen this. We don't use, we're not focused on social media. But yeah, I mean, I've heard about you guys. Let's talk, right?" And from there to being the first and only game to collab with one of the largest indie games of the year, it's wild to imagine, right? So without glazing them too much, but giving them credit where credit is due, we are the small fish in this collab, even though of course we currently outpace most I would say indie games that look like us. We also like, I think, which is wild to think, I think we're outpacing CrossCode, if timeline per timeline, right? I think we're outpacing that. So it feels like it is a really good fit. They probably see a little bit of themselves in us, and enough to kind of send the elevator back down for us, which I think it's something that rarely gets done in the industry, if at all. So I cannot thank them enough. I think they are, beyond special for that. And yeah, my biggest thanks to them for giving us the opportunity, but also to see value in us, because we never also wanted to create something that was like hyper lopsided, right? That we're getting so much more than they're getting. We wanted to do something equitable, and I think we got there. And like I said, there's so much more that we can't really talk about just yet, but conceptually it's been why them, because if it was anyone else, the lessons and the effect on the industry wouldn't be as deep as this is going to be if it works, right? If it works, as in like Shape Protocol ends up being a game that hopefully fingers crossed makes it to the zeitgeist. It does 1/10 of what CrossCode did, right? If we even scratch the surface of something like that, I think it will be a huge success in terms of explaining to the world that together we are mighty. When we put the energy into each other, when we send the elevator back down for people, when we don't just kind of hide in a corner and do our own thing, when we work together and we care about who else we can help in a way that's rentable, in a way that doesn't get in the way, in a way that doesn't take from what you're doing. There are many ways to do that, and I think Radical Fish is a big example of how to get that done with incredible dignity. I'm just a big fan from that perspective. I knew about Crosscode and I knew about Alabaster Dawn, but I didn't know how incredible this team is in terms of like their personality, the way that they love their game, their community, and I couldn't be prouder. But yeah, I could tell you like I wrote to them uh in December and they wrote back to me in March. You know, it's crazy. But you know, when the guy wrote back to me, like, you know, Felix is so freaking awesome. Like he wrote back to me, he was super apologetic. He's like, I'm so sorry, you know, I didn't see it. We, you know, we just don't, this is not what we do, which is already a good thing. It's already a good thing. For me, like it's such a beautiful thing to see. But just the fact that from there he treated me like a normal person, where obviously, you know, we are the smaller game here, and then from there on we just build a friendship that, I mean, I could say, you know, he's someone that I look at as a friend, and I know that he's already giving me direct feedback and stuff like that, of stuff that, you know, I could tell that they care. So um if I had an option to do this with anyone else in the world, you know, including Mega Man, including Valkyrie Profile, including Final Fantasy Tactics, if I could do it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would pick them every time. That's how sure I am that these guys are people, you know, that are just uh, they're just spectacular. And I wish, you know, I hope that we can be a little bit more like them at the end of our journey. So yeah, that's my super long-winded hyper glazing. Sorry, Felix, but you deserve it. Kind of that's phrasing. Yeah.
I love it. So just to recap before we end it, this collaboration between Crosscode, Alabaster Dawn, and Shade Protocol at this moment seems to be obviously very special, and it looks like we're getting ultimate themed ultimates between the three games for all of our characters to be using. Alabaster Dawn will have a playable Zura in their roguelite mode, and looks like we're having some guest composers from that game in Shape Protocol as well, and the potential, not confirmation, but the potential of story related DLC or just content coming into the future. Is that right? Did I miss anything?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there are like a couple of things that we're still baking.
Boss
But
fights, that's
yes,
right.
that's the boss fights. Yeah, we have not like completely eliminated the idea of like, you know, making an instrument or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you know, in the things that are realistic, and I think
Things that are confirmed as at the moment.
yeah, exactly, and that would actually like have a big effect on the space of our game. Then those are it. But of course, the DLC would be beyond what I can explain now.
Yeah.
In terms of like what we will do then, if we have like, of course, the time and resources to do that. But like I said to people, just to make sure, like, yes, of course, we're going into Kickstarter June 4th.
Next week.
But you know, we our goal is to we will make this game no matter what. So if you are in a situation where you cannot support it, or you could, you know, don't worry about it. We're gonna make this game no matter what. But tell as many people as you can. Like that's how you can help us. Like spread the word, spread this podcast, spread, you know, the information, so that the people that can help us get there. But mostly, what they're helping us is to make this kind of stuff that we want to make. That is a little bit more complicated than our normal development path. We're talking about things like, you know, guest composers and guest vocalists, things like you know, porting the game to consoles early, uh, you know, doing extra instruments and stuff that we know people really want, that we couldn't do without you. But the game, we're gonna find a way to do it no matter what. So we're just very thankful, and you know, if we can get to the goals that involve like the really big Alabaster Dawn and Crosscode stuff, we commit that we will do it with like with immense respect to those IPs. So thank you so much for even considering supporting us that way. So I think it's gonna be awesome. So looking forward to getting some of this done for sure.
Love it. Kendall, thank you so much for coming back on the show to talk about this, to reveal this to the world. I'm so excited. I'm so hyped and looking forward to all of this. For you guys at home, again, remember the Kickstarter is launching next week, June 4th. Again, you know, if you can't give, that's okay. Do what you can to help share and promote this thing. You know, this is going to be special, obviously. Kendall and the rest of the team are pouring a lot of heart, blood, sweat, and tears into this project, and they want to make sure it is the best possible thing for you and I as the consumers and as the players to enjoy. And clearly, you guys are just trying to raise that bar, man. You guys are doing your best. Just keep on giving the best possible thing to us. And I, as a consumer, obviously really appreciate that. I'm excited. I can't wait. So thank you so much, Kendall.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Last time on the Delta Quest, our party followed an injured elf to the heart of the forest, discovered it was actually a portal to Limbo, and watched Beans emerge, then witnessed Zam return from absolutely nowhere as a wizard and immediately fireball Beans back into the underworld. Nobody knows how Zam learned magic. Nobody cares. Welcome back to the Delta Quest. So let me set the stage for a second. Let me set the scene.
All right.
Close your eyes and go into the theater of your mind and imagine a wasteland of black stones and endless deserts stretching underneath a gray, cloudy sky. There are dead trees with no leaves reaching and clawing at the horizon, and like these jagged rock spires drifting like slowly through the air. And then on top of one of those rock spires stands Beans, looking down into a bottomless chasm as something enormous begins to climb towards him from the depths. And the Clown Lich is standing there, looking down and smiling. He turns around and he starts walking over to a portal leading back to the heart of the forest, pulling the creature with him through a mental leash. A massive claw emerges from the depths and grabs on, followed by a giant part of his arm. Beans looks through the portal, sticks both hands in, climbs out, and is met face to face with Pike. "Hello," he says, as a massive fireball smashes into him, exploding the portal and sending him flying back, and then everything goes dark. Then now, back at the heart of the forest, stands... Actually, nobody's standing. Pike is on the ground, having been thrown back by the explosion. Ruby is unconscious or something. Urzak is a dragon, and I can't remember where Thorn is, but Zam is standing in the middle of it all, holding a book, and his clothes are a little bit on fire, and he's like patting them down. He's like, oh Lord, all right, oh, so I did that. Hi guys, I'm back. It's me, Zam.
What took you long enough? Also, by the way, I love the setting up of the other perspective. I like that a lot.
Thank you. It took me a little while. Yeah, just a little taste. It was cold oven. What took me so long? I had to walk. I did have to walk all this way, but I'm glad I walked, because I got to finally read through this book, and I can do stuff. I can do stuff like fireball.
You didn't happen to read any like teleportation spells, did you?
Let me check on D&D Beyond.
That's what the book is called. That's what the book is called. D&D Beyond.
This book right here called D&D Beyond. The D stands for dastardly. The N stands for nefarious, and the other D stands for deeds. The dastardly nefarious deeds beyond book. Let me see if I learned the teleportation spell. Hold on a second.
You know, this book reminds. Have you guys ever seen Fairy Tale before?
No.
I have.
Like, do you remember the E&D book?
I don't know. When did I? Okay, I dropped Fairy Tale. Too many flying cats. But where did that? Yeah, too many flying cats. Where I don't quite recall that.
Well, there's a book of monsters in the show, and it's called E&D, which. You know the main character name is Natsu Dragneel?
Yes, that much I know.
You know the name of the rocks that hold magic is called Ether Nano?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the name of the book is called Ether Nano Natsu Dragneel.
Why is it named after him?
Because his brother made it.
So his brother just decided to name the book and then at the end drop his brother's name?
His brother, Natsu was dead.
This is
his brother brought him back to life. Using the book.
Okay.
All right, so it reminded me of the book.
And
Sorry,
so
Laura.
shout outs to Todd Habercorn, the voice of Natsu. He's a friend and he was on the show. Shout outs to him. His episode's not out yet, but it will be eventually.
Oh, shout out Todd. Well, like not yet. Soon.
Shout out.
Zam has been flipping through his book, and he goes, I don't have any teleportation stuff, but I do have a magic missile. Oh wait, no, I have fog cloud, and then he casts like a fog cloud, and then everything just gets foggy in the room. Did that help?
No.
Oh,
I can lift a heart and take 4 people back to Commerce Keep.
okay. Well, leave the gnome. I don't know why he's here.
Is he the
gnome
fifth?
does
Hold
hang.
on. There's
Got you.
me, there's Ruby, there's Thorn, there's yeah, that is 5 people. Never mind. Does a gnome really count as like a full-bodied person? Like he weighs nothing. What do you mean?
The gnome walks up to you and he goes, "That was very hurtful.
You're very hurtful.
I know, but at least I own it."
Okay.
I get linked with Pike. Let's knock them all out.
That sounds
Then
like
I'll be willing to take all 5.
that sounds like a great idea. But I'm like, we gotta get this thing hooked up to you somehow. Like, how are you gonna take this? Tell us how you're gonna take
Tail.
this. And you cannot wrap this thing around your tail by itself.
You must have tail.
That's not how tails
Oh,
work, man.
It'd be fun to try.
Okay, by all means, I don't care. Roll for it. Try. What'd you get?
Give me a second. Gotta pull up another.
Why are we making this so much harder? It's for the bit. That's what it is. It's for the plot. It's for the bit.
Please keep going.
Oh my god. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
that's not gonna happen, dude. You got a 9.
I didn't roll yet.
Oh, that was. Oh, okay. Oh no, that was. Mauro, what are you doing? Why is Ruby rolling a 9?
Okay, I'm not trying to roll a 9. I'm just as confused as you are. I'm just on her character page.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure something out.
Charisma check.
I did not do that. I don't know why. Dude, she's rolling in her sleep.
She's trying to solve something in her dreams, dude.
Yeah, she's dreaming about.
Please let her be
She's-
dreaming about Zambo. Please let her be
She's
dreaming
dreaming
about
about-
Zambo.
She's dreaming about like she's at an orphanage in her dream, and she's trying to like convince them that Zambo is just like a wayward soul, like a child that she needs to get off her hands, and they're not buying her, so she's like rolling charisma checks like crazy.
Oh my god. I rolled a 10.
Yeah, you're not picking that up with your
okay,
tail.
so here's what happens. Okay, Ruby is rousted from her sleep, and she goes, "Oh my god, I just had the most annoying dream. What's going on? What are we doing? Did we find the portal?"
Yeah, we found the portal. It's this heart right here, but I think we should take it back to Sir Comber's Keep before we do
Oh.
anything.
Yeah, okay, give me a second. All right. Let me see. And then she puts her hand forward and she casts locate animals or plants. And she's like, okay, all right. Be right back. Okay, I can't go because the stairs are destroyed. Urzak, take me to the surface. Dragon man, take me to the surface.
Why is it yelling at me, Pike?
Dragon guy man. I don't know if you understand. Comment. Does anybody speak dragon?
No.
Okay. All right. Tell this thing to take me to the surface. Oh wait, no. Yes, you do. F you, liar.
I don't know how to speak dragon. I don't.
Use your mental psychic link to tell this guy to take me to the surface. I've located an eldritch abomination of the forest who will gladly take this heart over to Secomber Keep on foot if I use my speak with animals spell on him.
Or we could just have our dragon pick it up with his claws and fly it over there.
I like her
well.
working hard.
It seems that he's having trouble doing that, considering that I just woke up, and we're still fucking here.
Can Ruby and I both just look at Urzak and just stare?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Go. I will lay one wing down so she can crawl up the wing.
She does so. with
I
some
will take-
swagger in her step.
Cool. I will take her to where she needs to go.
All right, so you just fly up through the thing. You guys go past the zombie elder fucking guy, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's not irrelevant anymore. And outside of the temple, there is exactly what you described, like this giant, massive, eldritch abomination monster thing of the forest, who just kind of looks like a. I don't know what he looks like. He's like covered in vines and had like his feet are like tree roots and his head is like a.
Love that. I
What?
would like to flip upside down.
You want to put him upside down?
No, I want to go upside down.
Oh, you want to go? Okay, so you're upside down.
Yep. Cool. She's
Yeah,
not
she-
on me anymore.
No, yeah, she falls. She falls. And she's like, you dick! And she grabs onto the monster thing. Swings back up onto his back, and she goes, okay, I'll take it from here. Me and him are going to take this heart to Sycamber Keep. Forward, my trusty steed. And the thing just like goes.
Sure.
It jumps. Yeah, it jumps down the hole. It lands, it grabs the heart, and it just like yanks it off of, because the heart is like attached to the ground via heart roots or something. And it just yanks it off, and it's holding it, and the heart continues pulsing, so it's probably fine.
Okay.
And she's like, all right, onwards to Sycamber Keep, she says, and the guy just starts moving, and I guess it crawls up. I don't know. It gets out somehow.
Okay.
It's an NPC. It'll figure it out. Thorn and Zam and the gnome are down there with you, Pike, and they're just kind of like standing around, and Thorn is like, cool, so she's doing that, and the dragon is outside, and we're here. Like, what are we gonna do?
I misty step to the floor above.
You missed it. Okay. You misty step to the floor above. Zam looks around and she goes, oh, damn it. Okay, I understand leaving the gnome and this lady, but what the man? I thought you and I were cool.
I get ready a rope arrow and I shoot it down or whatever. I just
Okay,
throw
alright.
down some rope for them to climb up.
Zambo grabs the rope and starts like climbing, and then Thorn climbs. And then the gnome afterwards has a tough time, but he does climb all the way up.
All right, Urzak, let's go.
Let's say, I was willing to go back down there and grab you of all people, right?
I know.
You have to make this step. Okay.
I know. I just
Cool.
you're already doing a lot, so
I am being petty, aren't I? I'll stop.
As everybody starts like climbing onto Urzak, the gnome is like, wait, no, that's not who he sounds like. The gnome goes, I really don't appreciate you guys taking me and then like threatening to leave me. Like, I didn't choose to be here. And Thorn looks at him and she goes, I know, right? Me neither. They just do that. And Zam goes, yeah, they kind of do that, don't they?
Urzak, fly away before the gnome gets here.
The gnome is like, wait.
Gone.
It's
Gone.
not
God.
nice. You guys leave the gnome, and Thorn is like, oh, I'll miss him. He was kind of cute.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. All right, so final villain achieved. Gotta write that one down in the notes for no particular reason.
Right.
Okay. So you guys just start doing all the way over to Sycamber Keep, and it takes you a few hours. Eventually, you do arrive to the gates of Sycamber Keep. And hold on a second, I have notes for this. And outside the city gates, you see a lot of tents, more tents than before. And there are, to your surprise, wood elves just hanging out in the tents, outside of the tents, talking with the guards. Some of them are reading or something. They're around. They're there.
Hey, Thorn, what's up with that?
Thorn is like, I don't know. I've literally been with you this entire time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Useless.
A couple of elves and guards look up and they're like, oh my god, dragon attack, there's a dragon. And then everybody's like, dragon. And then, like people start running out with spears and bows and they start drawing and aiming and stuff.
I hold up the champion's belt.
They immediately stop and they're like, "Oh my god! Oh no, it's okay. The dragon's the champion. Oh yeah, the champion. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Whatever." And everybody just disperses. It's okay, guys. He's got the bell. Isn't it possible that he killed the previous champion? Well, then that would make him the new champion, wouldn't it, Steve? Yeah, you're right. What is wrong with you today? Come on, man.
Oh,
Welcome to champion.
Are you gonna land?
And you guys, yeah.
Are you gonna land, Urzak?
Land where? There's tents everywhere.
Somewhere.
There's an area next to the tents where there are no tents. You can land there.
This is a random open spot for a helicopter to
It's
drop.
specifically for dragon landings. Yes.
It's got like
can there be like a guard or elf to like torches just wave at me?
There's a guard. Okay, there's an open space next to the tents in like a circular motion, right? They're like rocks surrounding it in a circle, and then instead of an H in the middle, it's like FD stands for friendly dragon, and exactly that. There's like a guard over there with two torches, just like aiming you in, like God, guiding you in. Go, you're good, go on.
Cool, and I'll land.
You land, and then a couple of guards come up to you, and they have a, I don't know, meat or something. They're like, you need to refuel or anything?
Absolutely, I'll take it.
Yeah, they start throwing like lamb chops and shit at you, like legs, like whole legs. One guy comes up with like an entire like donkey, and they're like, "This one isn't really part of the menagerie. He just died. You want it?"
Negative. No, if it just died, I'm good.
All right. Okay. Well, do you want us to kill a live donkey and you'll eat that?
Yeah, I don't know what type of sickness that one got. I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you for all the lovely food you are providing me.
You're welcome. It's all sick animal food. But you're a dragon, so that's okay, right?
Yeah, he's an acid dragon or whatever. It should not affect him.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to spit on some of that before it goes down my throat. Got to burn down the bacteria.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're all kind of dragon racist over here, but we're trying to be better.
I guess that's what counts.
Dragon. Oh my god.
I
can't escape it.
So I guess we're just waiting on Ruby to get here with the heart. How long do you think that'll take?
12 hours.
Okay, 12 hours.
On account of the walking, yeah.
12 hours. Okay. Should we like gear up? No, we should probably head to talk to Lady Ashla and like let her know what's up.
And Thorn dismounts the dragon, and she looks around. And she goes, "Okay, what's going on here?" And she asks one of the guards, and the guard's like, "Oh yeah, we have, we made a pact with the Wood Elves. Now that Baron Relland is in prison, apparently you guys are pretty cool." And Thorn's like, "Yeah, nice." She turns around, she looks at Pike and Urzak and Zambo, and she flips you guys the bird and goes, "F you guys, I'm out. Peace." And she leaves.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
She'll miss us. I mean, I'm not worried.
She might even join the battle. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like an envoy comes up, a couple of guards bearing Lady Ashla's royal seal, and they go, "Oh yes, you guys, yeah, you're actually the reason this is possible. You guys exposed Baron Relland's. Sorry, I'm so nervous. You guys are just so cool. You guys are so cool. I'm nervous. I'm starting over my words. I'm sorry. Let me start over.
Take us to Lady Ashla.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll do that. We'll do that right now. By the way, can I get an autograph real quick?" And then he like takes out like his tome.
Sure.
Yeah, he gives you like a quill and some like squid ink.
Okay, I'm gonna write in Elvish because I'm sure these guys don't know how to read Elvish.
They don't.
I don't know, some kind of equivalent.
Just call call him like you're a tool.
Yeah. But in Elvish.
Yeah, in Elvish, right? Like some Elvish like slur.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And some of the one of the elves that was part of the menagerie looks at it and just kind of snickers. And they go. By the way, you guys are jerks. IRL, this is above table. You guys are jerks.
What do you mean? They were racist towards my people. What are you talking about?
They were.
They deserve it.
They were misled. They're kind of cool now, right? Anyways, so they start. They walk you over through the gates into the castle, and Lady Ashla will see you now, and she's in her war room, and it's way emptier than before. And instead of maps and shit and daggers and all that, it's the table is littered with wine cups, and Lady Ashla's sitting at the edge of it, and she goes, "Ah, my heroes! What's up, you guys? How you doing? I haven't seen you in like forever. Oh my gosh, what's going on?"
We have found a way to enter limbo and finally address the Lich, and we need your help. It's time to gear up and prepare an attack, I guess.
Wow, you guys don't mess around. That was quick. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I thought we would have like more like peacetime, I guess. But I'm gonna be so honest with you. I hated the fact that we were at war, sort of, with the elves of the forest. But now that it's like peaceful and we're all cool, it's kind of boring around here. So I was kind of hoping you guys would figure something out with that Lich. Yeah, you got it. You got my army. Where's the Lich? Where are we going?
We're currently waiting on the portal, the heart of the forest, to be transferred here. It should be here in a few hours. So I figured this would be a good time to actually prep and gear up.
Okay. So you're bringing the portal to here?
Yep.
She looks at her advisor, and her advisor looks at her, and then they both look at you, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, that works for us. No mustering needed." So the advisor walks up to you guys, and he goes, he's this like tall, imposing tiefling, very, very buff, like all sinew, shoulders like mountains. And he walks up to you guys, and he goes, "All right, guys, so I'm gonna help you set up the army and stuff. So we got some humans over here. The elves have agreed to fight for you guys, and we can set up a pretty nice army to hop into the portal and stuff. Do you have anybody else you'd like to contact before the all-out war starts?"
Yes, we do. Urzak, in the
All right.
meantime, excuse me. Urzak, in the meantime,
You're excused.
why don't you fly and check up on Ruby to see how she's doing, make sure she's not, like, one, attacked, or two, just ditching us completely.
Yeah, by all means. Can I say something above table?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mauro, I love that voice because it reminds me of my sister had a baby and it took her over for Shark Tale.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, you just pulled the man. Oh man, I want to watch Shark Tale then.
Okay, yes, I will go check on Ruby.
Cool. And that sets up a Urzak side story.
He leaves, whatever, and Lady Asha walks up to you and Zam, and she goes, she like wraps her arm around you, and she's like, "All right, so we got a few hours to kill. Want to party?" She says as she shoves like a wine skin up to your face.
Business then pleasure. Let's focus on some things first.
Loser. She says as she starts chugging, and then the
Can I take
the court jester shows up, and he starts dancing, and like this dandelion looking motherfucker shows up and starts playing the lute and whatever.
Then I want to ask, while she's doing this, then can I just assume command of all your resources while you do this, and I just take care of everything else for you?
Takes a giant swig.
I'll roll
No,
for
no, go ahead,
persuasion
finish.
too. I'll roll for it.
Here's the thing. She takes a giant swig, throws it down, and she goes, "Fuck it, you do whatever you want as long as I get to lead the vanguard."
Works for me. Everybody else, you heard that, right?
Oh, I can't believe I heard it, but I did.
Okay, good. You take orders from me now. Let's get to work. Cracks knuckles.
The episode. Yeah, cracks knuckles. End the episode. We're getting ready. It's endgame shit.
It's potentially endgame. We'll see. We'll see if it actually ends. It's never gonna end.
We'll see. You guys, no. Well, it's never gonna end.
It's never
but
gonna
like
end.
this arc appears to be coming to a close
Arcs?
thematically.
Oh my God! What is this? One Piece?
One Piece? I knew
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Shut
yeah.
up. Shut up.
I had to call it with you, Jay.
I hate all of you.
Hope you guys enjoyed this different Delta Series episode. We had a lot of information shared with us, world reveal kind of from Kendall from Shade Protocol, with their collabs, which is announced today. So like, hey, look at that! That's super freaking cool. Go check out their Kickstarter, which is gonna be next week, June 4th. So that'll be very cool. Check out the Breaking Protocol episodes, meaning it's a mini podcast series that Kendall and I record, where we break down updates and developments of Shade Protocol itself. And we're going to be talking all about the Kickstarter this Sunday and next Sunday. Every Sunday a new episode comes out. On top of that, man, we have a lot of cool stuff coming out for you for the rest of this week. Some really cool guests, some really cool stuff coming out. And yeah, so it's been a good month. It's been busy. New kind of episode. Stay tuned for more stuff.
Take it easy, guys.
See you guys later.
We have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Razzle Dazzle Show. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. Follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.
Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
I got into that and I started collecting. But over the course of my lifetime, I gained about 3,500 comic books that I carried around the country with me as I moved. So I started to go through them and I started to separate out the ones that were super well loved, in other words, in bad condition.
Yeah.
From the ones that were good quality. And as I was doing that, I went, I wonder what I can do with these. So I started to concoct the idea, come together, of taking a generous portion of the proceeds of the sales of my original comic book collection and donating the money to Memorial Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Foundation. Because the hardest thing about seeing my daughter in the hospital was visiting the Children's Cancer Ward in DC. Kids shouldn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to go through what a very, very adult me went through and was in pain and frightened the whole time. Kids shouldn't have to go through that kind of fear. I'm doing a drive with the comics that I have now to sell them, and then a generous portion of the net proceeds goes to Memorial Sloan Kettering's Children's Cancer Fund.
Tune in next week